You surely know these winter days. It's all cloudy and dark outside. Your friends are off doing something or playing terrible games, and you're just in your room, not in the mood to do anything except maybe watch some anime. For me, there aren't many anime I can enjoy during such times, but Frieren Beyond Journey's End is certainly one of them. I gave Frieren a try after hearing about it from chibi reviews, and honestly, it ended up being one of my most beloved anime, so thank you, chibi. I know this is probably the 10th video you've seen someone glazing the show, and I'm not really qualified to talk about anime in such a deep manner, but I still want to offer my perspective. Maybe someone finds a little value within it. Before we start, here's a quick spoiler warning. I won't be talking about the story in great detail, but things will be mentioned that happen in later episodes. So, Frieren is basically about a 1000-year-old elf called Frieren, being stuck on her crush and reliving her memories with him and her party, while traveling with a new one. Her goal is to get to heaven so she can meet her old crush again, and also nurturing her new party members. The story of Frieren Beyond Journey's End might sound really boring at first. We don't get to see the grand quest she and the hero party embarked on in order to kill the Demon King. Instead, we are being drip-fed by flashbacks from Frieren's past while she retraces her past journey. Yet that is exactly the point of the show and what makes it so unique. It literally shows us what lies after the end of the hero's journey. The story is very much character-driven, specifically by Frieren herself. Her wanting to meet Himmel again and wanting to fulfill the wishes of her friends is the main driving force behind the plot. This isn't a bad thing at all. The plot doesn't need to be intricate with twists and turns around every corner, like some people might want you to believe. It's more than good enough to accommodate for its characters and their growth, and it has its own hype moments. The true strength of Frieren lies within its characters and their dynamics. Frieren herself is portrayed as a rather cold and pessimistic person. She didn't really care for other people's time, as she is an elf which lived for thousands of years. For her, the 10 years she has spent traveling with her party was nothing but a mere blink in the grand scheme of her life. Only after the end of her journey would she start to understand how she had changed in those mere 10 years, and continued to change while traveling with her new party. The first person joining Frieren in her travels is her apprentice mage Fed. She was a foster child of Heiter, another member of the hero's party. It was his last wish for Frieren to join Frieren in order for her to reach her full potential as a mage. Frieren herself doesn't show that much emotion, although way more than Frieren. She also doesn't express her wants and needs very well, which often leads her to be angry with people once she is fed up. Yet she genuinely cares for other people and wants to help those in need. This trait of hers probably comes from her own experience being helpless when her village was annihilated by a war. These two have a really nice and wholesome dynamic. Frieren often has to take care of Frieren in the morning because she can't get herself out of bed, and Frieren also helps her collect spells. Frieren in turn trains Frieren in magic and tries her best to understand who Frieren is as a person. Unlike with Himmel, whom she doesn't know much about even though they traveled for 10 years. You can see this with Frieren becoming more tactful, starting to value Frieren's time more when traveling, and getting her presents for her birthday. Frieren and Frieren have some really wholesome moments, but also really funny ones, so it's always a pleasure seeing those two on the screen. The other permanent party member to join is the warrior Stark. He is the best student of the dwarf Eisen, who was also a member of the hero's party. Eisen was also the one to recommend Frieren to take Stark with them, because Stark would become a great warrior. And Eisen was not fucking lying. Stark is a really powerful and a competent fighter, but he's also a pussy. Despite being as strong as he is, Stark is often afraid of fighting other strong opponents, because he lacks the confidence in himself. He is like that one friend who panics before an exam because I didn't study enough, and then proceeds to get a perfect fucking score. Although he does great to overcome this flaw of his. Stark's lack of confidence stems from him being neglected by his father, because he wasn't a prodigy like his brother. Stark is also a very kind person as well. He's always out helping people, and he's also good with children. No, absolutely not like that. Shut the fuck up, Triple Dog Death Barot. Frieren and Stark have a pretty interesting dynamic. They're both quite young, so they are very prone to misunderstanding one another and getting into silly conflicts. Yet they do have their own wholesome moments. They kind of remind me of my first and last relationship, so I kind of have a soft spot for those two. While Zayn only had a very short stint in the party, I really liked what he brought to the table. He was sort of the adult of the group, although he himself is really irresponsible at times. Like the one time he lost all of his belongings to gambling like the average kick streamer. He also mediated a lot of the conflicts that came up in the group. Like I said, I liked Zayn, but it was pretty clear he wouldn't stay with the party, and I think Frieren's party will never have a permanent fourth member. Looking at Fen and Stark, they're the successors to Haita and Aizen. We never heard of Himmel training anyone or having any children, so there isn't really a successor to him. Besides that, it wouldn't make much sense narratively, since Himmel is probably irreplaceable to Frieren, but that's just my theory. The supporting characters are all unique and interesting as well. Just looking at the hero party, they're a pretty crack-headed bunch. We have a kind of narcissistic love interest, a cute dwarf warrior and an alcoholic priest. Their dynamic is always a treat to watch in the flashbacks. The other supporting characters are just as intriguing, but going into that would be a bit too much for this video. The world building is also simply amazing. Frieren really takes its time to properly flesh out the world. The little details provided go a long way to immerse you into the world the characters inhabit, and give you a clear picture of it. Just a few examples here. Zoltrak being studied, utilized and further developed by mages around the world after Qual was sealed. So much so that Zoltrak is seen as ordinary offensive magic. Some demons evolved to mimic humans as closely as they can, in order to use the humans' empathy against them, or demons always showing off their mana as a sign of status and power. All of these things are rather small details, yet they make the world seem so lively and constantly changing, which is how Frieren herself likely experiences the world around her. Now let's talk visuals. The visuals in general are just gorgeous. Be it the vibrant colors used that bring this magical world perfectly to life, the expressive and easy to read character designs, or the fact that this show has next to no frames where the characters look off-model. One detail I especially like is that the eyes have actual depth instead of being one flat surface like in most anime. The character designer is Tereko Nagasawa, and she does have her fair share of experience, as far as a novice like me could tell. She did quite a bit of in-between animation on various anime, then moved on to key animation on works like Mob Psycho Season 2, Shield Hero Season 1, Mushoku Tensei. She also did key animation for another one of my favorite anime, Summertime Render. Her biggest role before Frieren was being the character designer of Tact OP Destiny, which had great designs as well. She is also apparently married to the action director for Frieren, Toru Iwasawa, who has quite the portfolio. He key animated for My Hero Season 1, Fate Apocrypha and Heaven's Feel 2, Black Clover, Fire Force Season 2, JJK Season 1 and 2, Chainsaw Man, and also another favorite of mine, SAO Alicization War of Underworld. He was the action animation director for episode 3 of Lycoris Recoil, and the action director for Tact OP. I'm seeing parallels here. On the topic of action, Frieren's fight scenes look absolutely gorgeous as well. The movements are perfectly fluid with great anticipation and payoff. The animation really allows you to feel how insanely powerful some of the spells and attacks are the characters throw at each other. Unfortunately, I'm not knowledgeable enough to anime AJ style explain the history of every animator and why they're so great. But if you're interested, there's a site called Sakugaboru that basically shows you which animator did what. It's not complete, but there's still more than enough to dig into. Just want to randomly throw this in because it fits nowhere else. The director for Frieren, Keiichiro Saito, was also the director for Bushido Rock, another one of my favorite anime. Like, holy shit, this guy is him when it comes to manga adaptations. And I'm pretty sure he could do great light novel adaptations as well. As for criticisms, I don't really have any. The only thing that does bother me a bit is the frequency of Frieren's flashbacks. At some points, it's literally that one meme where everyone is doing some shit and Frieren just goes Himmeru and has a flashback. To be fair, the flashbacks in the show have nuance and contextualize the things that are happening or going on in Frieren's mind. They aren't just random ass flashbacks, but they still get a bit annoying sometimes. And that's basically everything I've got to say about Frieren. It's genuinely one of the greatest anime I've ever seen, and I can recommend this to pretty much everyone, even if you aren't already into anime. As for the score we'll be giving Frieren, it's a certified Declibsed 10 out of 10. I enjoyed every second of the show, and I might pick up the manga instead of waiting for season 2 to arrive. Feel free to comment your feelings towards Frieren, or correct potential bullshit I spewed. So yeah, you can click off now. Bye bye.